Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd. So it's my friends over at yarnspirations.com. It's the Fandango Throw. This is an intermediate level. I'm most likely going to yap your ear off today, so if you feel like getting an earful, you're going to get it today. This is like a quilt, and this is one of those patterns where actually our assistant Marina found this, and I thought, how did they actually do it? But I wasn't satisfied with just that question. I actually had to you pull out a crochet hook and actually figure it out. So I was looking at the instruction. I'm like, this makes no sense to me on how it's done, because it says square 1, square 2. I'm looking at the instructions, I don't see a square. So what I'm realizing is that I started going step by step and just following the instructions blindly, and then I realized I could do it. So I want to show you this particular concept because this is like a quilt. So what makes a great quilt when you go to look at things is that there's a commonality of color. I can see these particular ideas here all just being really kind of random, but you want something in here that will make it cohesive and bring it together. So there's sometimes people make scrap gowns and there's no cohesiveness and then they're not happy. So I think this brown section here is what makes it cohesive. So you don't have to do brown, you can do any colors you want to. So I'm going to give you some resources, because once I got through this I found myself check, and I ran out of spaces to check. So I created a checklist for you, and then I went through this, and then I realized there's no sewing involved, so that's even a bonus. So I couldn't even see it in here, but these are actually a join as you go technique, and we'll talk about that. So let me show you the sample, and then you can determine if you're interested in this project or not. So here's one of the squares here. I would recommend that you block it. So I did steam block this one here. So I would block it before you would apply the final border to this thing, and I'm gonna show you tips on this. I'm also recommending, which I didn't do, oh my god I'd recommend hiding your loose ends and tucking those in as you go. So therefore you won't end up with a bazillion ends at the end of this thing. So each one of these sections that you see is considered a panel. This is panel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. When we go to start this, we need to make the panels, and they're joining as you go. So you do the one, it's gonna be by itself. It's gonna be really awkward when you do number 2, but once we get past that it gets easier to hold, and you'll do number 3 and etc. I'm recommending to you that if you're going to just follow a color scheme, I would do all of this stuff first, because you'll remember it as you come together. Once you have that done and you weave in your ends and you don't do what I did, then what you're going to do is turn it with the right side facing up, and then you're gonna blast your way to the edge. So there's 2 single crochets in the bottom of each, and you're gonna blast your way into a point. Once that's done is that we're gonna start off on the top, and I'm gonna show you some really cool ideas for this. Is that we're just going to start all the way in the edge, and then we go all the way across, but then we fasten off. I'm like, why are you fastening off? It's because you need to keep that flat edge. Okay, it doesn't look so flat, but once it's joining to a neighbor it will be flat. So then once you turn it, you're going to start with a certain amount of stitches, and I'm gonna tell you where that is so you don't have to worry about counting so much, and then you're gonna blast your way to the point here, and I'm gonna show you a fast way to do that. So I came up with a bit of instructions for you that are added to this. So if you come under the crochetcrowd.com under this pattern, you can have that and print it off if you wish. So let's talk about that. So what we're looking at is that there's 48 squares. There's 2 different colorways. So 24 of the squares look one way, 24 of the others look the other. It's only a color difference. It's not an actual structure difference as far as different stitch work. So there's a total of 48 altogether. So if you wanted to do each one of them the same, you can. So as we begin, a pattern starts off with panel 1 and then 2 and all the way through 7. So you can't start on panel 2 or 3 or 6. You have to start off with panel number 1. In this case it's this one. And then once you do panel 2, it joins it as you go. So there's no sewing involved. And then panel 3. So once you get all 7 panels done, it's then easy. For memory hook reasons, I found with myself once I got to the 4th panel, I realized that I can actually blast through this pretty quickly because I'm understanding things even more. So a great memory tip for me to you is that every time it joins with a neighbor, it's an odd number. So when we did row number 1, we join. Row number 3, we join. So if I was on row number 4 and I'm supposed to join, then I know that my stitch count is out, like the row count. So every time there's an odd number, you're going to join to the neighbor at the end. So that's something that I found with myself, is that when I'm looking at this really quickly and just glancing, okay, I'm doing it right because I'm supposed to be joining because that's an odd number. And of course I would weave in the tails, but that's not all folks, there's even more. So page number 2 is that we're going to be building out the square. So once you get all of these done, you're gonna be building it out like I explained here with the right side facing up, and then you're gonna turn it over and then blast this out over here. This is a join as you go technique, and what I found with myself is that you have to get a total of 12 of these loops that will join to each other at the in between. It's not so obvious where those are, but those came, so the first time in the first row I was like, I kept getting it wrong and wrong and wrong, and then I realizing I'm looking for 12 of these bumpy things. So these are chain 2. So don't count the corner loops as the join, count the 12 in the middle. So as long as it looks even and you have 12, it will join to a neighbor. When this is joining to a new neighbor, so you have to do one completely, which I have. So I have something to play with today. So once one is done, when you go to do the next one, instead of chaining a 2, you chain 1, slip stitch into this one, and then chain 1, and then work on the one that you were coming from. So this one here becomes the neighbor. So the only difference between those is that if it's chain 2, if there's no joining to a neighbor, and it's chain 1 slip stitch and chain 1 to come back in order to do that. So that's the thing that you need to watch out for. So 12 is the magic number in order to do that. So I did my little archy things for you. I also found that there wasn't enough space in the particular pattern as well for checking off the boxes. So what I did is I came up with a list. I know I'm fabulous. So what we have here is that chain 1 is assumed. So this allows me to glance at this really quickly and to be able to say, yes, that's what I need to do. Yes, that's what I need to do, and just check, check, check. So you're going to notice that some of the rows are actually identical to each other, and I put in red the number of stitches that you should have at the end of that row. Okay, so that was an easy memory hook for me as well. So you can check off the boxes as you go. So just check, 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 check. Now there's certain areas, like for example here, it's all the same. So what I would think about doing is that I would just like check, 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 and I would just do 3 rows and just check all 3 at the end. That's what I would do, and then eventually you'll end up at the very end. So these are what we have is that row number 1 through 15. I wanted to make sure you had enough check spots here. That's my excuse. So then you can check that as you go, and you can print as many paper pieces as you need to. In time you may not need to once you get used to this pattern. I also then highlighted the boxes here. Those are the rows that attach to a neighbor once you start. So panel 1, don't worry about that. Panel 2, when you're on these shaded rows, they're attaching to a neighbor through slip stitching. So I thought I'd put that in there for you too, because that's just the way it is. So then the bottom corner here is just the abbreviations of looking at the instructions. So again, you just work your way down. So this is considered like the first time. So check, 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 and then you move to your second one if you want to. And then finally, because I didn't have enough of the to do in my life, is that I came up with the top corner here and also did here. Now these shaded boxes for the top corner, what I'd recommend that there's a total of 6 of these rows. Just do the same instruction, and what I did is that I kept going back and forth, and I looked for when there was 7 stitches left, and I knew I was done. So my goal is to get to 7. So instead of just going 1 and then checking it and then next one check, just keep on going back and forth until you get 7, and then you'll be having that. So if you'd like to have this information, it's free as a download. It's complimentary, and hopefully this will explain it. So you ready? Let's get started. We're gonna start with panel number 1 and blow your mind away. Let's begin. So let's begin. We're gonna do panel number 1, and so this will be an individual piece by itself, and then I'm gonna show you how to do panel number 2 and 3 and leave the rest of the panels for you. So that's my goal today. So let's get started with this. Have your tapestry needle handy. Get your check sheet out or a piece of paper so you can check off your list, and let's begin panel number 1. Okay, let's begin. Just leave a long enough tail so that you can throw it through a tapestry needle, because you'll want to hide that in later. And create a slip knot. This is an intermediate level 6mm size J crochet hook today, and a lot of extra patience. Let's begin. Row number 1. So we're gonna chain a total of 2. So 1 and 2, and you're going to only put one single crochet in the first one. That is row number 1. Okay. So now you can just check that off your list and turn, and let's begin row number 2. Row number 2, this check sheet that I did for you, chain 1 is assumed that you're going to do that, and in the only stitch there you're going to put in 2 double crochet or 2 single crochets. Sorry, I was just filming with double crochet. So it'll look like that. So 2 single crochets, turn your work. Let's begin row number 3. Row number 3 and 4 is identical, so you're just gonna chain up 1. There's only 2 stitches there. So we're only gonna apply 1 single crochet into each. So 1, and do the next one is 1, and that was row number 3. turn your work and do row number 4. It's the same thing. So chain up 1 and there's only 2 stitches, so apply 1 single crochet into each. And then turn your work and let's begin row number 5. Okay, row number 5, we're going to be creating a space so that we can get 3 single crochets in the next row after this. So row number 5 is just chain up 1 and 1 single in the first, chain up 1, and that will be a chain 1 space that you'll use next time, and you'll single crochet in the next. So you'll notice that I said that there's 3 stitches here because you have the first one, the chain 1, and the single crochet. So let's turn our work and begin row number 6. Okay, in row number 6 we're gonna chain up 1, we're gonna single crochet in the single crochet, we're going to single crochet in the chain 1 space, and single crochet in the next single crochet. That was row number 6. So turn your work and let's do number 7, 8, and 9. So 7, 8, and 9 are all the same, and there's only 3 single crochets that you need to worry about. So what I did in my brain is that I knew that there's 3 rows and they're all the same. So I chain up 1 and I say to myself 7, 7, 7. Guess what row that was? 7. Turn your work, chain 1, and then I go 8 and 8 and 8. That was row number 8. Turn your work and let's do row number 9. So chain up 1 and say 9, 9, and 9. And then turn your work and let's begin row number 10. In row number 10 we're gonna be creating an extra stitch here. So chain 1, 1 single in the first. You're going to put another 2 into the next stitch. So 2 singles, so 1 and 2 into the next stitch, and then 1 into the last one. So that gives you a total count of 4. And that was the end of row number 10. And let's begin 11 and 12, which are both the same. 11 and 12 are both the same. So what I did is there's only 4 stitches there, so chain up 1 and I went 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that was 11. And then I turned, chained 1, and I went 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that was number 12. So you could have done 11, 11, 11, 11, 11. I found that harder to say, and then 12 4 times, and then that's it. So turn your work and we're going to begin row number 13. So row number 13, chain up 1 and 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches in a row, and then you're gonna create a chain 1 space, which you'll use next time, and then you'll single crochet in the last 2, and that was row number 13. Okay, let's turn your work and let's begin number 14. So number 14 is gonna be the second last one, so you're just gonna chain up 1 and do 1 single crochet in each stitch and chain 1 space, so that will take you to the count of 5 altogether for singles. And then finally the very last row is number 15. Let's begin that next. So 15, you're going to chain up 1 and single crochet in the first, skipping the next stitch, and you're gonna go into this one here. So skipping the next stitch and shell. So that's 5 double crochets into that same one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you're just going to single crochet. So skipping the next one and single crochet in the end. Here's my tip. This last stitch here, this last one, is the right side. If you're familiar with crochet, you'll see that it is the right side. So you see the difference? So I want you to remember that, because when you go to start the next panel you want that facing up, so that the next panel will then be facing up as well. So I want you to fasten off. So let's go through our fastening off technique next. So I'm recommending you don't do what I did and leave in the tails. I was just doing a practice sample just for tutorial reasons. So just pull through, and I want you to take a tapestry needle and any loose ends that you have in this project. I would do it as you go. It'll be a lot easier, and then just drag it through the back side. So the other side is the right side. So just drag it through the back side. So once, and don't change the shape of this, twice, and 3 times. So this will never fall out, because you're gonna have a lot of loose ends with this particular concept, which is fine, but make sure you deal with it. Also, taking the first one here, you're gonna want to get rid of that as well, and again staying on the back side. So this is the good side, I can see from that, so just turn it over and stay on the back side and just hide that in back and forth a total of 3 times. Do not change the shape of this thing because it will matter. And back and forth a total of 3 times, so it just fell out, of course. And then finally the 3rd time is a charm. So it should never fall out if it's back and forth 3 times. So this one is done completely, and you're going to put it just off to the side, but you're going to keep it close because we're now going to do panel number 2. Turn it over so that you see the right side facing up. Let's begin panel number 2. The first time of this is going to be awkward, so just keeping a long tail, and I want you to create a slip knot. So remember, this is an odd number, so every time it's an odd number row you're going to attach. So regardless if it's this or it has more to it, you'll always attach. So you'll chain 2, 1 and 2, and you're gonna go second chain from the hook and single crochet. So you are still following the same instruction, but the difference is now is that after you finish that row, you were gonna come to the same level here and just come in from the back side. Just stay on the edge. Okay. And just yarning over. So I come from the back side to the front, and all I want to do is just pull through, and that will slip stitch this together. I'm making it harder than it is. I'm making it look harder than it is. So there you go. So when I go to turn, it's going to now be attached. So when I turn, this should be upside down, so I'm seeing the back as I'm ready to do row number 2. So like before, you're going to chain up 1 before you begin, and in number 2 it's a single crochet twice in the only stitch that's there, and that's row number 2. And now you're gonna turn and begin row number 3, and row number 3 heads back into this project, so therefore we have to join it at the end of number 3. So let's do 3 and 4 next. So let's do 3 and 4. So chaining up 1, so there's only 2 stitches in a row, so 1 and 2, and on the same height, just peeling it back, okay, you're just going to join it from the back side, pull forward, okay, joined. So that was 3, chain up 1, and then there's only 2 there, so single crochet twice, and then turn your work, and we'll begin row number 5 next. In row number 5 we're gonna create an extra stitch, so we're gonna create a chain space, so just single crochet, and it is an odd number so it has to attach when you get there, so just single crochet, chain 1, single crochet into the last one of that one, and then at the same height slip stitch. So you'll notice that it's gonna equally build up on the side, and then we're gonna begin number 6. So number 6, just chain up 1, so single crochet in the first one, and then you're going to go into the chain 1 space, and then single crochet into the last one. So there's only 3 stitches in a row for number 6. Turn your work, and let's do 7, 8 and 9. In row 7, 8 and 9 I would do what I did before. It's all the same. There's only 3 stitches in a row, so just chain up 1. So I would do 7, 7, 7. So there's only 3, and then join and turn, chain up 1. There's only 3 in a row, so 8, 8 and 8, and turn, and then chain up 1. There's still only 3. This is row number 9, so 9, 9 and 9, and then join. Now if you have colors that blend better together, these joins are not so obvious. Okay, so that was number 9. So let's just finish and go into number 10. So number 10 we're gonna expand into 4 stitches, so just chain up 1, 1 single in the first, and then 2 into the next. So 1 and 2, and then single into the next. And turn your work, and we're gonna do 11 and 12 next. So 11 and 12 are both the same. There's only 4 stitches, so 1, so I would do 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then slip stitch over Okay, that was number 11. And then turn your work and do the same thing. So chain 1 and then this is 12. So you see how the even numbers head away from the project where the odd numbers want to join. So that was 12. So let's turn our work and we're almost done. Let's do row number 13 next. So row number 13, chain up 1 and you're gonna single crochet the first 2 in a row and then chain 1 to create a space, and then the next 2 in a row are single crochet, and this is number 13, so there is a join. And then turn your work and let's begin number 14. So number 14, just chain up 1 and 1 single into each of the stitches and the chain 1 space. So you'll get your number 5. So 5 is the magic number for the very final row, which is next, which is number 15. Okay, so turn your work and let's do the final row, and to see how this is scalloped, this one will be as well. Let's do the final row number 15. So final row number 15, just chain up 1 single into the first, skip the next and shell, which is 5 double crochet into the next one after that. So just 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then skipping the next one, single into the next one after that, which is the end, but I want you to join it at the very final here. So join it. And what I did for myself for consistency, do you see how there looks like there's double? So in order to get that final look on the edge, what you have to do is just trim your yarn and just pull that over and through, and then you'll end up with the double look all the way up. Then I would turn it over, fasten in your ends like I showed you, and I'm gonna show you panel number 3, which is exactly what you just learned, but we'll do it anyway. Okay, so let's do panel number 3. I'm gonna leave the camera going for the whole duration of this one, and I'll just show you what I'm gonna do. So I can check it off on my list, but I got familiar with this idea and I want to prove it to you. So we're gonna start off, the right sides are facing up, and do row number 1. So you're gonna chain up 2 and single crochet 1 time in the first chain, second chain from the hook, and then I want to join it. Make sure this join is nice and tight, the very first one, and then I'm going to chain up 1 and begin row number 2. Row number 2, 2 single crochets in the next one. Because it's row number 2, there's nothing to join to when you hit there. Row number 3 and 4 is just 1 into each of the 2. So 1 and 2, and then join it. So that was row number 3, and then chaining up 1, and there's only 2, so this is row number 4. So I'm just glancing at my check sheet that I did. So row number 5, we're gonna get a little bit bigger, so just chain up 1, 1 single in the first, chain 1, and then 1 single in the next, and then join, and then chain up 1, and we're gonna do a single crochet in the first one and in the chain 1 space and in the last single crochet. That was row number 6. Turning will work number 7, 8 and 9. So just chaining up, and we do 7, 7, 7, and then join, chain up 1, and then 8, 8 and 8, turn, join, and then 9. So that wasn't a join, it's just turn, and this is number 9, and join, and now number 10, single crochet, and 1 into the first, 2 into the next one, so 2 singles there, and then 1 into the other one. That was number 10. Now 11 and 12 are both the same, but there's only 4 in a row, so we have 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is number 11. Okay, chaining up 1, and this is number 12. It's just still 4 in a row, so 1, 2, 3 and 4. And now number 13, we're gonna make more space, so single crochet in the first 2, and then chain 1 and then single crochet in the last 2. It's row number 13 and then join and then turn your work. Now row number 14 is that we're gonna fill in that chain 1 space. So 1, 2, fill in the space. This is 3, next one's 4 and 5, and then finally the very last one that we have is going to be the coming up over the edge. So we're gonna single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in the first, and then skipping the next one and shell into the next. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then skipping the next, single crochet in the next, and then join. So join it to the first, single crochet on this side, and then I want that to look consistent with the joining. So then when I cut that, I pull that last strand through and then I secure it on the back side. So that was panel number 3. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna continue along now and I'm gonna get my 7 complete done. So there's 3 done so far, so I got 4 more to do, and I'm just gonna have a little bit of fun with it, and I'll see you back here in just a few seconds. Myself, I just gotta do this work and I'll be right back to show you how to do the bottom and the top half. So right now we have 7 panels done. So gobble 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 looks like a turkey. It was totally unintentional, by the way. So what I wanna do is keep in the right side facing up. I wanna turn it upside down like this, and I wanna crochet along the base here. So each one of these are going to get 7 single crochets, which gives you a total count of 14. So what we're doing here, if you look at this particular sample here, we're just gonna grab it and then zoom our way to the end. So it won't take long. So this is gonna be a main color for you. So whatever color you decide to do, that's what we're gonna do next. So we do have a check sheet for that. So let's take a quick look at that. So the check sheet just has the number of rows that we have, and we're just going to blast our way. So 2 into the bottom of each of the fan shapes that we have, the panels, and then we're gonna double or decrease in the first and the last stitch across, so then it becomes 12, decrease first and last, then becomes 10, 1 single crochet in each so that we have balance, decrease in the first and the last again, so we have 8, and then we're gonna do 1 single crochet in the first 3 stitches, and then we're gonna decrease and then 1 single crochet in the last 3, so that it gives you the 7, just like that, just like, yeah, that's right, and then eventually the very last one here we'll do this and then we'll end up with 0. So you can check it off if you wish. Let's begin row number 1. Okay, so let's begin. So the right side is facing up, and so it's facing up, so you've been working on it like this, so turn it upside down like this, but it's still facing up, and work along the base. So we're going to begin, create a slip knot to start, and then in the base of each one of these panels you're just going to go into the very underside of the chain and apply 2 single crochets. So you can either attach with a slip stitch, chain 1 and then single crochet twice, or you can just put it onto the hook right now and then pull through and then scoop it so you have 2. This is a cleaner look, and then pull through 2. That's the first single crochet. That's a standing single crochet. So then do another one, so a single crochet there. So simply then just jump to the next fan, the base, and apply 2 into that one. And you're gonna do that all the way across. This is row number 1. So this is gonna pull them all together at the base to create that semicircle. Do you hear me being stressed out? No. I just know that it's 2 into the each, so I'm not worried about the stress of counting. Okay, that's it. So nice, right? So turn your work and let's do the next row. In row number 2 we're gonna chain up 1, and the very first one that we're going to play with, which is right here, is that one plus its friend next door. So you're gonna pick up the next one as well and pull through, and then pull through 2. Pull through all 3 loops. That's a 2 together. So that one, and so you're just going to single crochet yourself across. Don't worry about counting. And then the last 2 stitches are going to become 2 together, and this will reduce 2 stitches then per the row. This semicircle automatically wants to happen on its own as well, so I always kind of question that. So we know that there's 2 into the last fan, so the last 2 in the last fan have to become together. And then turn your work and let's do row number 3. So row number 3 is exactly the same, so just chain up 1 and put the first 2 together, and then single crochet across and then put the last 2 together. make sure you do watch those last 2 stitches when you go to do that. So this here is 1 and 2. So this extra section that it looks like, that's not a stitch, it's just there. And then put the last 2 together and then turn your work and let's do row number 3. So row number 4 is just 1 single crochet in each. So chain 1, 1 single. This helps stabilize it because you don't want it to grow too short too quickly. So it's just a stabilizing row. Come into the last one and turn, and let's do row number 5. Okay, row number 5 we're gonna decrease again, so chain up 1 and 1 single together, 2 together in the first 2, and then just continue to blast your way across, and then the last 2 are 2 together as well. And then turn, and then let's begin row number 6. So number 6, our decrease is gonna be right here, which will keep it in this beautiful shape. So chain up 1 and single crochet the first 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and then put the next 2 together. This is the very middle of the row, and then single crochet the final 3. So 1, 2, 3, just one more row left. Turn your work and let's do row number 7. So I'm gonna have to change my sheet there. So it says DC last, that means DEC, so decrease. So I will update that. So you're gonna chain up 1 in the final row, and you are going to decrease the first 2. So put the first 2 together. You are going to then skip a stitch and then shell into this one. So that's 5 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. You're creating the final corner. Skip the next one and decrease the last 2 like that, and then therefore that corner is done. So it looks kind of misshaped, but it will stabilize itself once it's in the project. So just cut that and then weave that off, and then we're gonna begin the top corner, which is the other side of this next. So at this point we now have the bottom. So you're gonna notice it may not be completely square, but that's where blocking has to come to play, and we're gonna be doing this. So I want you to keep the right side facing up now, and you'll see that, and we're gonna start on this side here and work our way the other way. So that's where we're gonna begin. Our story is right here, and there's a really easy way to be able to do the next starting. So if you're thinking you're gonna get stressed, I don't think so. So let's just go to our check sheet next. So there's a total of 12 rows that we have, and we're gonna be starting off here, and we need to fasten off at the end of row number 1 so that we can restart in the 6th stitch, and that's really easy to be able to tell where that is. I'll demonstrate where that is, and then we're gonna blast our way. So there's 12 rows in order to get to the point, and let's begin with row number 1. So let's begin row number 1. We're going to start off with the first single crochet on this one here. So let's just join it and begin. So we're going to just pull everything tight and chain 3, and that will count as your first double crochet, and I want you to double crochet one more time into that one. Now this is gonna pull up over top of this scallop here. So before you continue, I need you to chain 1, and then we're going to then, and it says to skip the 2 double crochet and etc. Don't worry about it. Go in the middle one of the grouping of these 5. So it's the middle stitch of these, of the 5 that you did. Actually I think I only did 4 there. Okay, no big deal. We can still fake that, no big deal. So we're gonna go to the middle one. So it says to skip the next 2 double crochets, which you are, but if you just look for the middle, it's just easy. So then chain 1, and now you're gonna come where they've done the join, and we're going to then slam in 3 double crochets. So 1, 2 and 3, and then chain up 1, and now you're gonna come to the middle, but apparently I missed the middle, so I'm just gonna slam it in and fake it. If anybody's judging, then they got too much time on their hands. I just went into a space. I'm actually gonna go into a stitch just to make it look like it belongs, and then chain up 1, and then come in between the space and put in 3 single crochets, or sorry, 3 double crochet. God, my mouth and the hands don't do the same thing. So then chain 1, come to the middle one, single crochet, chain 1, and then 3 into the one in between. Please do this all the way across. I'll see you at the end of the row. So I'm coming up close to the end of the row, so I'm just jumping to the middle one and then chain 1, and then in the very last single crochet just apply 2 double crochets only, and that'll complete off row number 1. Now we want to fasten this off, so fasten it off, weave in your end, and then we're going to begin, but when you go to start the next one we're gonna flip it upside down anyway, so we are still gonna turn, but we're going to just start in a different section as we begin the next one. So let's do that. So fasten that off and meet me back here in just a moment. Okay, so I've just fastened off and I'm just going to join some new yarn. Here's the trick. Do you see this one right here? This is where you want to start. You want to start in the middle one of this grouping of 3, and you want to finish off in the middle one of this group of 3. So look, let me just back you out a little bit. So when we go to start, it says to skip 6 stitches. So you're gonna start in the middle one of here and you're gonna end on the middle one of here, and that will give you the 31 stitches that you're looking for. So coming into the very beginning one of the middle one, just join it. You can do a standing single there if you want to. If you're not comfortable, just chain up 1 and 1 single in each. And so now that my first one is in, I'm just going to fill in the stitches and the chain 1 spaces, making sure that I have 31 altogether, so I will be counting. So when it's a space there, fill it in. So this is technically number 3, and then this is a stitch 4, space is 5, 30 and 31. So that takes you to the middle one of that one, and then you're gonna turn your work and we're going to begin the 3rd row. Now we're going to begin some really serious reducing right now. So rows number 3, 4 and 5 also have very serious reducing. So the fact is that we have to stay flat for some time before we can get to this area to really build it out. So what we have to do is just chain up 1, and we're gonna skip the first one that it's coming out of, and we're going to make sure that we decrease the next 2 together. Do not mistake this. So if you want to put a stitch marker on that so you don't use it, then that's up to you, but I would recommend it. I screwed that up during the trials when I did this. So now once I get that 2 together, so I've just chained up 1, I skipped the one that is coming out of, so the next 2 are together. I am just going to single crochet myself all the way across till I end up to the 3rd last stitch. So the 3rd and the 2nd last stitch become together, and then we just stop there and then we turn and come back in the other direction. So this here is row number 3, and we don't have to fasten off anymore to move positions. We're just gonna continue to blast our way to the edge. Okay, so I have my 3 last stitches, so 1, 2, 3. So I put the 3rd and the 2nd one together, and I don't worry about this one, and I leave it and I turn and I begin number 4 next. So number 4 is the same thing, so just chain up 1. So you're gonna skip the one that is coming out of and just put the next 2 together, and then you are going to then single crochet then the remaining all the way across, go to the 3rd last one, so the 3rd and the 2nd one become together, and then you turn, and we'll do this. This is row number 4. So I'm coming up close to the end. Remember what I said, this one here is not a stitch, so don't make that a stitch. So I am technically, if that's not a stitch, so 1, 2, 3. So put the 3rd and the 2nd together and then turn. And let's do row number 5, which is going to be the same thing that we just learned. Now row number 5, chain up 1, skipping the first one, and just go to the next 2 and put those together, and then single crochet across, and then we're gonna put the 3rd and the 2nd last one together, and then turn, and then we're gonna start blasting our way really quite quickly as we then do the next 6 rows after that. So here we go. So this one here is not a stitch. That's that chain 1 that we're not worried about. So 1, 2, 3. So we're in the 3rd and the 2nd last one, turn. Sorry, put it together and then turn. So let's review numbers 6 through 11, and I think that you can blast that through without really having to worry too much about the check sheet, but let's just verify that. So currently I have 19 stitches right here. So rows number 6 all the way through 11 is decrease on the first and the last. So the first 2 come together and the last 2 come together. So it's going to go 16, 15. So what I'm going to do for myself, and you can do this too, is just keep going back and forth and stop once you have a total of 7 stitches left. Okay, it's just really easy. So I don't even think you need to check it off, to be honest with you. So just continue to decrease. So let's go back to this and let's just quickly show you. So to do rows number 6 through 11, so just chain up 1, and then using that same one that one and its friend next door, put that together, and you're just gonna single crochet yourself across. So you're reducing by 2 stitches per row at this moment, like we had been along. And on the first one here, number 6, make sure that you don't include that chain 1. You won't see that again, but here's the last 2. Put those together and then turn. So then row number 7 is the same thing, and then I'll meet you back when there's only 7 stitches left in the very middle, and then we'll do the last row together. So let's do the last row. So I only have 7 stitches. I was just here a few seconds ago. It really doesn't take that long. So now we're going to decrease the first 2 stitches together, and then we're going to skip the next stitch and then shell into this one. So where have you seen that before, right? On the top of those panels. So the shell is 5 double crochet. So we're creating the next corner, and then skip in the next stitch and then put the last 2 together, and that's it. So now you're just gonna wanna weave this in. So let's have some tips for you, and then I'll show you how to do the final round. So right now you have this square. So what's missing? The very final round. So you're noticing that it doesn't look completely square. I would block this if I were you and you were me. So what that is, spray it with a spray bottle and shape it and let it air dry. So I would do that, and you can use a steamer. I use a steamer when I do mine, and then you can get it pretty close to square. Some people come up with contraptions as well where they put like a doily like dowels up in, and then it comes in and then it holds it. I would be inclined to do that before you do the next round. You had to fasten off anyway, so you might as well take that opportunity. For brevity reasons, I'm not gonna do that, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you. So you can either join here or here, it doesn't matter, and let's cover the concept, because the way that you're going to do the next round, if this is the very first one, there's nothing to join to, but once you have more that you want to go, is that you have to determine what it's going to look like when it comes together. Maybe you want it to go like this, right? Maybe you want to do a full circle. Maybe you just want to, you know, come up with something else. It doesn't look like that in the pattern. I don't know if that works anyway. So what you can do is that you can look at the diagram. So let's take a look at that next, the diagram. So the diagram has it all laid out for you, so you can see these pie shapes on how it's gonna go. So that's something that you can determine that works. So you can see that it goes in a complete circle and then it builds out. So there is a method to the madness, as hard as that is to believe. So that's kind of fun, and you can see the number 1 and 2. So when you're looking at this pattern, when you had those color options for you, is that you will have noticed, and I didn't even call that out when I think about it, is that when you look at it, it said with E and then do this color. F was the second color, and then you can see with this panel 2, B and D. So I'm gonna, hopefully people will look at that when they're going to make that decision. So who knows, right? So let's begin to do the final round, and let's also take you to my notes, because I found myself it was kind of hard the first time, and I'll show you how to bypass the hard stuff. When we go to do this, we're going to be joining into a corner, so it doesn't matter which corner that you go into, but it's staying to either go into the top or the bottom corner. So either the bottom or the top, that's where you want to start. So our goal is to get 12 of these bumpy loops going across. So what this is, it's slip stitch, chain 2 and slip, and you're gonna equally space it. So about the halfway mark that you should have about 6, and then get the other one done. So you're going to notice that when you start doing this, you just have to eye it out in the beginning, and then you'll start to actually get the rhythm of the shaping. Then once you get the final hump in, you're gonna do your corner loop, which is a chain 4 and slip stitch, so they're gonna be bigger, and then you keep on going. Now if this is joining to a neighbor, instead of just slip stitching and chaining 2 coming back, you're gonna slip stitch and then slip chain 1, slip into the next joining one, and then come back, chain 1, and then slip into the one that you're working on. What I'm recommending to you is that never do this on the first side. So if I'm gonna start this and I want to join these 2 panels, let me just back you out here, that I won't start joining immediately, because it's really hard to do that. So what I would do is do the first row, get yourself off the hook, and then once you come to your chain 4, so in this case what it will be, because I want to join it, I'm gonna chain 2, slip stitch to this one that is already existing, chain 2, and then come back. But if you have nothing to join to the first round, you just have to, the first time around, you just have to make sure you have them all ready, and then this one will be joined, and then you can keep adding to this pattern as you go. So that's kind of fun, right? So let's begin to try, and let's hope for the best. So I'm gonna try my best to do this on camera. I probably will screw it up just to let you know, because you know I haven't invested that much time into it that I have the spacing in my head yet. So it's just equally spaced in those 12. So you're gonna come into the middle one of the grouping of the 5 that you have, and you're going to slip stitch. So just pull through, that's a slip. You're then going to chain 4. This is a corner, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm gonna come in. I'm not joining to anything, so I'm not gonna worry about doing that. So next time if I have a chain 4 and I'm joining, then it's just chain 2, slip stitch into the next one, and then come back, chain 2, and then join back to the regular square. So now I'm just going to chain 2, and this is considered 1. So just coming into somewhere else, evenly spaced, and slip stitch. So that's 1, and then chain 2, just coming back in what you think is even. So this would be considered 2. So I can see 1 hump, 2 hump. It's like Alice the Camel. So then chain 2, and then coming back in. That's 3 and 4 5. Now when I get to 6, that should be about the halfway mark across. It looks pretty close. So 6 is done. So, and this is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and I'm gonna come right to the corner because I believe that's 12. So slip in. So I should be able to count 12 of these without the corners not yet done on this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's equally spaced on the first take. That's hard to believe. So now I want to join it to its friend. Now assume the other friend has its tails leaned in. You know, damn crocheter didn't finish his work. So I want to chain 2. So if I wasn't joining, I would chain 4, come back into there, and then start jumping and doing my 12s again. So in this case I am going to join. So chain 2, slip into this chain 4 this side, come from the back and pull it forward. So slip it, chain 2, and then come back into that same spot. So I still want to do my 12, but in this case when I go to jump I want to join them. So 1, chain 1, and I want to go around the next loop that's available on this one. So that's a slip, and then chain 1 again, and then I want to come back. And I'm gonna say that's 1, and then chain 1, the next loop, chain 1, and then this is 2. Chain 1. So I'm noticing myself, I'm just gonna equally space, but I'm noticing myself is that the other side, because it's done, I have the sense of where I want to go. So you can sandwich them up together like that too. Would be actually that'd be a really good idea. I don't know why I don't think of these things in advance. So you could sandwich them up and kind of get them to match. Just make sure you don't go through both panels. With this kind of concept to join as you go, I always get confused on the very end before you do a turn. So what you want to do with the join as you go, you want to kind of join it always the same way. So you're noticing that I'm coming from the back side and then pulling it through. You'll always want to do that so that the joins will always look consistent. I've lost count, but I don't care. Because I'm trusting in myself, which is even harder to believe. But if I run out of, if the other side had 12, which it did, and this side needs 12, then I should be okay. And then we're gonna come back. So I was worried about so much sewing on this particular project, but thank God there's not. Not that I don't mind sewing, it's always the last step. So this is the very last loop on this side, so I have to finish and create the loop on this side before I go. So that's the very last one, and so when I come onto this side I should be in the very corner because there's no more loops to be done. So let me just, oh my God, you think I was a professional. So that's awesome. I'm laughing because I'm actually happy. So now I can just continue to go around. I have nothing to join to, but if you wanted to you could. And now I'm really looking turkey-ish. So now it's a corner, so I have to still join the corner. Oh my God, I was getting excited. So chain up 2 only, join the corner. So if there was other corners that were coming into here I would also join those. I'd put them in the same one, chain 2 and then come back. Well, just when you thought I was being all smart. I can't believe how good that looks. Shocking. And actually it squares itself off. That's like a miracle, my friends. I'm buying a lotto ticket even though I don't ever play. So now I just have to continue to go around and then get that done, and then that's ready then to be joined to another neighbor in the future. So I'll do that and I'll be right back. I don't know how much more stuff I have to talk about. I don't know if there's a final border in this thing, so I'll find that out too. So I've just come back to all where I started, and I'm just going to slip stitch in the beginning like this, and then I'm gonna fasten off, and then you can start another square and be able to continue to join them as you go. So do that, and then we're gonna cover the final border. There is 4 rounds to do that. So we're going to begin, and we're going to continue with the same background color yarn. We're going to build out the border. So it doesn't matter, this particular border doesn't matter how many squares you have. You could have had 48. You could change the shaping of this. It won't matter for the border, which is great. So we're going to start in the first chain 2 that is just away from the corner, and you're going to join it with the slip stitch. And the border is actually really quite simple, is that you're just going to chain 2 and then you're going to slip stitch into the next chain 2 space, and then chain 2 and continue to do that next space. So chain 2 and the next space, and you're gonna do this all the way around except for the corners. The corners you're gonna maintain that chaining of 4 like you had learned before, just to turn the corner and then continue along. So I'll see you at the first corner. So this is row number 1 of the border. When you get in between a space, just treat those chain 4 spaces like you had been as normal. So just continue to slip stitch chain 2 and just go right completely across them, and therefore they'll blend much better. So continue, and I'll see you in the first corner in a moment. So I'm at the first corner, so chain 2, the next one is the corner. So slip stitch, chain 4, and then slip back in, and then turn your block and continue. So just turn and then continue along the side. Do this all the way around. I'll see you at the end of this round. So I'm just coming back around, and I've just done the last corner, so the 4, and then I'm chaining 2 and I'm slip stitching into the first stitch, this first slip stitch. I'm going to turn my work and do row number 2 or round number 2, and what I want to do is that I want to slip stitch into the chain 2 space first and then do exactly what I just did. So just slip stitch, chain 2, and in this case the corner is next, so maintain the corners of chaining of 4. 1 2 3 4, and then slip and then continue along. So chain 2 and then going into the space, and etc. So this is the same thing as round number 1. The difference is that we turned and are now going on the wrong side around. I'll see you at the end of this round. So I'm just finishing up this one here. This is row number 2, and I'm just done. So now I'm gonna turn my work, and I'm gonna go back on the right side now, and we're gonna slightly do something different. So we're gonna do the corners. So right where I am right now, I'm going to slip to the first single crochet. I'm not in a corner. I'll deal with that corner when I get there. The corners are slightly different in this one, so we're gonna change our direction. You're gonna chain up 1 and then single crochet and then chain 2, and then come to the next space and single crochet and chain 2. So now you're probably more familiar with this as well. So please do this all the way around. I'll meet you in the first corner because the corners are gonna have like a fleur-de-lis concept, and I'll see you there in just a moment. When you get to the corner, we're gonna do like a fleur-de-lis. So in the chain 4 you're going to single crochet, and then you are going to then chain 2 and single crochet all in the same one, chain 3, single crochet, chain 2 and single crochet. So it's single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. You're then going to chain 2 and then move around and go to the next one, single crochet, chain 2, and go to the next one, single crochet, chain 2. So it looks like a kind of a fleur-de-lis concept in the corner. Please do this all the way around. See at the end of the round, and I did mark the beginning because I was getting confused because the stitches are all looking the same. So just come all the way back around, and I'm just slip stitching to the, or sorry, I got a chain 2 after the corner because I was just before the corner, and I'm slipping to the first single crochet. So the very final round in each of these chain 2 spaces, so slip there first, we're gonna just chain up 1 and single crochet, and then chain 2 and single crochet into the same space. Then come into the next one, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. This is gonna do a nice picot kind of edge, and it will finish it off. The only difference is at the very corner, the chain 3 one is going to be single crochet, chain 3, single crochet, and that's what you're gonna do all the way around. I don't think I need to show you very much more than this, and I will see you at the end of this round, and we will conclude off today's tutorial. So thank you so much for joining us today. So I've now just come all the way around and I'm done. So what I would do if I were you is that I would damp block your whole blanket just to make sure that the edges look really good, and actually I'm really quite happy with it. It's like a very happy Easter or happy Thanksgiving. See, I don't even know my holidays at this moment. So this is actually a really fun idea. Hopefully that you've enjoyed today's tutorial, and I look forward to seeing if anybody actually does the Fandango. Have a good one, and we hope to see you again real soon. Bye bye.